HOA destroyed my coop, so I let 50 chickens loose in their office. I'll never forget the sound, that splintering crack of wood giving way. That was the moment my heart broke. That was the moment Karen went too far. It started with chickens, just 10 hens and one very entitled rooster named Nugget. They weren't pets. They were family and lifelines. After losing my job during the layoffs, I started raising hens in my backyard, selling fresh eggs, posting cute videos. It kept the lights on, fed my daughter, gave me purpose. It wasn't just a coop, it was recovery. But Karen, she saw it as an eyesore. I moved into the Meadowbrook neighborhood 6 months ago. Modest home, little yard, peaceful street until you look closely. Tidy houses, yes, but the kind of tidiness that hides rot underneath. Gossip traveled faster than Wi-Fi. And the self-declared enforcer of it all, Karen Maddox. She had a clipboard, a custom name tag, and a Toyota Highlander with an HOA magnet she printed herself. The problem, there wasn't an HOA, not a real one. She ran it anyway. She'd knock on doors, hand out rules nobody voted on. She fined a neighbor for inconsistent flower spacing, threatened another with visual infractions over Christmas lights. I kept my head down until the chickens. It started with letters, handwritten, passive-aggressive, stuck in my mailbox. You are in violation of Community Livestock Code. Remove immediately. Then came the photos, grainy prints of my girls in the yard, pecking at bugs. Then threats. I responded once, politely. My chickens are legal. No city ordinance against backyard hens here, and there's no HOA. Her response came the next morning, with a police cruiser parked outside my driveway. Of course, the officer just shrugged. No law against it, he muttered, and drove off. But the message from Karen was clear. This isn't over. Then, one Tuesday morning, I woke to the sound, a crunch, a crash, the unmistakable sound of boards being ripped apart. I ran outside, barefoot. There it was. My coop flattened, wood splintered, nesting boxes crushed, feathers floating like war debris in the air. And Karen, standing there like a smug general on the battlefield, arms crossed behind 2 men in neon vests and a flatbed truck. I warned you, she said. You left me no choice. I screamed. I cried. My daughter, Maisie, just 8 years old, sobbed in the doorway. We found 2 hens dead, Nugget missing, the others scattered in shock. I stood there shaking, heart in pieces, trying to breathe. Karen handed me a paper. Notice of violation, Meadowbrook HOA, and right there, below the fake seal, she checked a box that didn't even exist in our city code, unauthorized agricultural behavior. I sat on the floor that night, surrounded by broken boards and dazed hens, and something inside me snapped. Not with rage, with clarity. She wanted power. She wanted fear. What she didn't count on was me fighting back. And so, I did. I called the city, filed a report. Nothing. Not our jurisdiction. They said, I called animal control. Nothing. Civil matter. I posted to a local Facebook group. Only a few replies. Most were too afraid to speak. She'd bullied this whole street into silence. But there was one comment, just one, that changed everything. A guy named Todd said his coop got destroyed 2 months earlier. Same truck, same excuse, different street. He said, she's not just power tripping, she's working a scheme. I messaged him. We met at a diner. He brought photos, signed statements. Turns out Karen had conned nearly a dozen families, claiming to run the HOA, issuing fake citations, even collecting dues. We compared notes. Then I went deeper. Public records showed no registered HOA for Meadowbrook. Karen had created fake bylaws, made her own stationery. She even had a fake website, Meadowbrook HOA, net, that redirected to her husband's landscaping company. And that company, the one that tore down my coop, her brother-in-law ran it. I had proof, dates, receipts, patterns, and a plan. But I couldn't do it alone. I reached out to everyone Karen had harassed. The widow with the purple porch, the immigrant couple with the laundry line, the man who flew a pride flag she tried to burn. We met in my backyard and still dirt-streaked, still raw. We shared stories, we cried, we laughed bitterly. And then we planned. Victor, the widow's son, offered legal help. Todd handled digital research. Maisie made a protest sign. We called ourselves Cluckback Coalition, and we hatched the ultimate payback. You ever seen 50 chickens in one place? You're about to. 3 weeks after the Coop was demolished, we staged our counterattack. It wasn't just about vengeance, it was about exposure, about making sure Karen couldn't hurt anyone else. And yeah, it involved chickens. Here's how it happened. Todd used a drone to capture video footage of Karen's HOA office, an old dentist suite she leased, to make her little HOA operation feel legitimate. Turns out, it wasn't just a fake office, it was a front. She collected HOA dues from half the neighborhood, cash only, and kept the records in a manila folder labeled Karen's Real Rules. Victor filed an injunction. The city couldn't ignore it now. A hearing was scheduled, but we needed to tell the public before the paperwork got buried. So we built our plan around spectacle, around justice, around Nugget. He came back, by the way. After the Coop collapsed, he disappeared for days. I thought he was gone. Then one night, he strutted back into the yard like he'd just returned from a pilgrimage, missing a few tail feathers, but otherwise unharmed. That rooster had fire in his eyes. So did I. The morning of the office invasion, we set the stage. Maisie stayed home from school, helping me prep the crates. 50 birds, some mine, some borrowed from friends, farmers, activists. I'd posted a call on Facebook, help me stand up to HOA tyranny. The response explosive. Todd rigged a few chickens with GoPro harnesses. The footage would go straight to a live TikTok stream titled Just Cluck Karen. Victor drove the van. Miriam, the animal rights advocate, walked in first with an envelope. She politely asked for a copy of HOA bylaws. Karen, suspicious but smug, opened the door, and that's when we unleashed them. Victor threw open the van doors. Todd released the latches, and 50 chickens spilled into the office. It was glorious. Chickens flapped, cackled, pecked at Karen's fake citations. One hopped onto a filing cabinet and crowed. Nugget strutted across her fake seal like he was reclaiming land for poultry kind. Karen shrieked, "This is bioterrorism." Victor calmly filmed her yelling as a hen laid an egg right on her keyboard. Todd live-streamed the whole thing. Over 200,000 people watched in real time. And just as Karen screamed, "I'm calling the authorities arrived. Because we had called them. Hours before, code enforcement officers, real ones, accompanied by a city clerk. They walked into the madness, looked around, and said, "Ma'am, we need to talk about your unauthorized operations." Karen protested, "This is private property." The clerk held up a printout. "Under what corporation?" She paused, blinked, tried to speak, but it was too late. Karen was fined over $25,000 for fraudulent citations, illegal business practices, animal endangerment, and trespassing. Her landscaping scam was exposed. Her brother-in-law's company lost their license. The city ruled the Meadowbrook HOA a fraudulent organization. Her website taken down, her fake dues ordered to be refunded, and the co-op rebuilt. But bigger, stronger, with a mural of Nugget painted across the side cape and all. But here's what mattered most. The neighborhood changed. People started talking again, sharing stories, hanging out, helping each other. The widow got help repainting her porch. The immigrant couple got a new clothesline, proudly strung. A community garden was started where Karen used to park her Highlander. I stood there, in the sun, watching the kids chase chickens through the grass. I felt something I hadn't in years. Peace. I tell this story not because it's funny, though. Lord knows it is, but because it matters. People like Karen thrive in silence, in fear, in the quiet spaces between laws and courage. but they only win when we let them. So if someone comes for your peace, your voice, your chickens don't back down. Cluck back. Call to action. What would you have done? Was the chicken invasion justice or too far? Have you ever stood up to fake authority in your community? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about community, truth, and when enough is enough.